society, some of it contributes to the pension. It means you must also establish the pension, the state pension fund, so that your employees do not lose when the time comes for retirement. Likewise, it goes, you must insure them, welfare, the insurance. These were going to be done at the national level, but by the law, by the organic law, by the constitution, you have a right to collect the taxes that are given to you by the constitution.
Salaries.
So that is a reminder for the governor, and we should also put such in our resolutions. My that is, it has to, you will be called to do that. Regulate it. The RRC had complained of the activities done by the state government. Is there any response on that? Did you say you dismiss and use staff? I read the note by dismissing staff, seizing of NGO assets, and deportation of expulsion of NGOs. Is there any response to it?
Governors. Throwing people out.
He may not be doing it because he's in the center.
Yeah, thank you, Your Excellency. First of all, I'm not defending or denying or in any way also accepting, but this question seems to be generalizing. And my humble submission is that the RRC, according to the current revitalizer agreement, it has changed its status of operation. How? In terms of structures. RRC, at the level of the state, has become one of the commissions established according to the parameters of the agreement. So therefore, it has to coordinate with the national RRC in terms of its operations and programs. Therefore, if there are cases of that sort as asked by that particular individual, the RRC could have drawn to that particular institution, be it a state or the RRC of whatever level. And the issues can be dealt with there. But however, Your Excellency, I would like to raise one important point. You know, their assets. All of us have read the RRC Act. They are assets that are of the program assets. They are assets that are of the project assets. And they are defined and clearly to which entity these assets are shared. In any case, a particular program and project come to halt or completion. But quite often there has been tendencies of disagreement between either the national RRC officials and the state. And I'm sure this is alongside this to the best of my knowledge. But as I said earlier, I really suggest that this question is generalizing and it could have been better. The person who asked the question could have placed to that particular state, so that is iron, other than generalizing all governors. Anyway, these are my comments.
Okay. Yes. Deputy Governor of Upper Nile contributing to the RRC, contributing to dismissal of NGOs, commandeering NGOs assets.
Yeah. Thank you, Your Excellency, First Vice President. The protocol remains observed. Actually, as put forward by the Governor of Central Equatoria, the status of the RRC has changed. And if there has anything to do with the governance and coordinations, I think before they appear at the central level or at the RRC National Commission, they have to, those complaints can directly come to the state concerned. Until now, maybe nobody have any particular complaint. And if there are that cases, then can go back to that state. I think one of the issues where we can also appreciate the state are the area that the states, when crisis occurred, for example, when we have a issue in Rang, it was the same state authority that have intervened and solved the issue of the NGOs who were having problems there. And I think these have been applying across or nationwide. If there are issues to do with working relations between the RRC, the county commissioners, or the state authorities, then the RRC as a commission under the state should also immediately report it to the governor or the council of ministers, and it can be discussed and resolved before it even comes to the national level. And I think this is where somebody talked yesterday about the relations between the national and the state. As mentioned earlier, if we go back to the RRA era, during those days, it was very clear that any project assets have to be also based under those areas, and especially under the former famous regulation by the late Elijah Malo. Today's, and especially become worse during the 2013 up to the 2018 crisis. NGOs were almost refusing regulation from the states. And I think as this has come, it's a matter of working relations. We have no such issues, and if there are those such, they can be solved at the state level. I think that's where we hope. We need them, the humanitarian agencies or being NGOs, apart from the RRC. RRC is the government institutions. It's part and function of the government operation. It's the government regulatory body. If there are anything beyond their capacity, they have to report to the authority concerned of those. Well, the question goes back, how did it happen that they are reporting issues to the national RRC without the knowledge of the state concerned? Or how did this issue appear in this plenary when it is issue to do with the governance matter in the state level? So it could be directly goes back to those who had the question, but I think the state are ready to ratify it.
It doesn't matter how it came.
There is a case of example I learned when we were here. The governor is here, and I was here that there was the issue in Fashoda, in particular Fashoda County. If that is the case, it's being reported here. I learned it when we were here. I think then that can be shared when we go back to the state to look at it exactly what happened.
Okay,
Because there's
thank
nothing
you.
that we hear.
Thank you.
Shukran.
Well, now-
However, I was having a question. Can I just end my question that I wanted to send directly to you?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Your Excellency, I have been having a concern over the river transport challenges. Upper Nile and other states that are along the Nile are beneficiary of the river transports. And the river is one of our main highways that is benefiting all of us, especially from Juba up to Rang. And all the states along the river are the beneficiary of those of this advantage. However, we have a very serious challenge, which makes it very difficult to up to date. We have a heavy cargo that goes up to Malakal. You are compelled even to parade even by air. And the challenge is that is insecurity along the Nile. Most probably, the forces that were aligned to IO. And I think this is also being raised several times by the business community. Good that you are the chair of this forum, you are the person in charge. The IO commander-in-chief also is there. This is becoming a burden. Is there any mechanism that can really be mitigated to solve that issue, the transportation along the Nile, which is actually becoming too difficult and it's causing a lot of challenges, and it's actually depriving the business community from easy, faring of goods and the movement of goods and even the transport of people, because they're very challenging. The more it is solves, the more it can also help in really peace implementation. Otherwise, as we are implementing peace agreement, these are some of the areas that we have challenges, in terms of progress in our business sector. Shukran.
Thank you, Deputy Governor of Penile. Your last question, I thought this was resolved 2 months ago. The barges and the boats are moving freely. There is a force that is accompanying actually 3 boats that are doing, those who had illegal checkpoints. All these checkpoints have been collapsed on those corridors. Now I want to give chance to Vice President Avan. He wants to leave us, but he needs to contribute to the resolutions. Mike, quicker legs.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Your Excellency, I want to contribute to the resolution. One, you would recall yesterday when the Minister of Road and Bridges was presented, and everybody need a road. And for us to achieve what we want to, I'm proposing that the government should commit more resources for the infrastructure development, mainly roads. The second resolution I want to move is there's this sensitivity of internal borders between the states and areas. I would recommend that the resolution should be also passed, that we form a committee, national committee, to address the issue of internal borders. We don't want to commit our people to more suffering, division. These are what people that have been living together in history. What is important is administrative demarcation of the borders. It's not, they're not going to displaced South Sudanese wherever you want to live. But the administration borders should be demarcated so that people live in peace. And, thank you very much. If I can be allowed, I want to
That's
go
fine.
on. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Secretariat B. Ahmed Abdul Halim. Ahmed Abdul Halim was Minister of Information and Culture during the Mary's time. Very smart guy. Okay, let me read contributions to the resolutions. National government implementation mechanisms to provide food and medical supplies to the training centers and cantonment sites until the forces are graduated and unified. To support building institutional capacities with computers, furniture, etc. I don't know which one. To conduct peaceful disarmament of unauthorized individuals, so that the weapons are destroyed. Reverse the letter from the NRA Commissioner addressed to NGOs. You restructure them. The other contribution, this is from the local government board, please include chiefs are employees of local government. Here the state shall provide for chiefs uniform in their annual budgets, or the annual budgets should reflect the needs of the chiefs. Another one, the governors forum to include the leadership of national legislature, the leaderships of national legislature and the state legislatures. Another one, the resolutions of previous governors' fora be printed. The other is the resolutions of the commissioners' fora, the resolutions of the commissioners' forums for each state be printed. Okay, if no more addition, then we read them. Let's read them. And I'm particular about those who presented. If you feel strongly one of your issues which should be adopted generally in this forum has been omitted, then you say it. Okay.
Okay, these are the resolutions that we have captured, and obviously this is a draft, and then it will be it needs a lot of cleaning up. So the first one is a firm commitment of the states to the implementation of the ARA access. I think this one was provided by one of the governors. Speed up the training, graduation, and deployment of unified forces. I think we had a lot about this over these days. Continue engagement with all up groups under the Rome Initiative to end all hostile activities by these groups in parts of the country, particularly in Central Equatoria and Eastern Equatoria states. Continue holding local peace initiatives across the country to end communal conflicts in parts of the country. National government should establish peace fund to support states in the implementation of the other axis. And child abductions wherever they are occurring. Establish child support fund to help states handle the issue of street children. Conduct peaceful disarmament across and ensure that guns collected are given to unified forces or destroyed, and provide security to the disarmed communities. Accelerate the dissemination of the Constitution and the Local Government Act 2009. Provide employment and skills development opportunities to youth so as to enhance peace and stability across the country. Guarantee the right of youth to work anywhere in the country. Regulate the movement of cattle to avoid conflicts between the owners of the cattle and farming communities. And each state should control the movement of its cattle. Empower traditional leaders so as to deal with conflicts at the local level. Recruit and train local administrative officers so as to render services to the people. Each state to make provisions in their annual budgets for training of local administrative officers. I think this is not provided, I think, in the local government, the budget of the local government board. Organize traditional leaders and give them services like graded payments and not consolidated payments, as well as provide them with uniforms. Adopt measures to deal with environmental impacts in oil-producing areas. Conduct environmental and social impact assessments prior to commissioning of development projects. Urge the national government to support states in addressing rampant land grabbing. Support individuals and communities affected by floods and take steps to avoid possible conflicts. Provide land for investment in all the states and create zero grazing land for cattle in all the states. Enhance basic service delivery to lessen grievances and hence conflicts. Mobilize resources for state development. Encourage use of ox plows in states. Personal income tax of employees employed by states should be collected by the respective states. Readjust the current marked road plans N1, N2, N3 to ensure concerns raised about the roads are addressed. Engage with governments of neighboring countries with a view to ending peacefully the encroachment on border areas of our country. Establish a commission to deal with disputes with neighboring countries over borders. Adopt severe measures to curb corruption in all government institutions. Compel all government institutions to respect and apply public service rules and regulations. Separate service provision from political influences and affiliations. Improve coordination between states, state and national ministries, and report on transfers from national government. Develop strong and robust foreign policy that aims at maintaining good relations with neighboring countries. Encourage adoption of cooperative development principles for agricultural transformation. Ministry of Finance and Planning to develop budget for block transfers to the state to support cooperative development, rural development, research centers, and training institutions. Establish agro-mechanical service centers across the country to support expansion of agricultural production and productivity and hence improving food security. Hold a peace conference between Unity State and Wayne administrative area. Protect and provide services to refugees, IDPs, and returnees, as well as communities hosting them or host communities. Council of States to actively resolve border issues in the states. Locate scholarships to states equitably. Engage the South Sudanese diaspora so as to contribute to the development of South Sudan or the country. Increase the size of allocations to states. A share of non-oil revenues should be given to the states or level of government where it is generated. Enhance coordination between national and state institutions. Cease interference with RRC activities by governors and commissioners. Adopt a rotational system for hosting of governors forum for inclusivity sake. So for the time being, these are the resolutions that we have captured.
I still have.
There are more to come and we'll continue including them.
Yes.
Or if you feel some of them should not be included, please just.
Yeah, they will come.
Yeah. Thank you, Your Excellency.
There's one which says the Minister of Presidential Affairs shall be able to provide enough national flags for all the states in order to guarantee the authenticity of national flags. The national flag. The Minister of Presidential Affairs will appreciate if all the states can send us true samples of their state flags. We want to produce them. Let them produce this. Yeah, national flag you can produce them, but there are flags they can produce them. That is all right. Then we call on the listen. The what? Provision of funds for. Okay. Provision of funds for revival of vital economic projects such as a well-rice scheme and Zara, what do they call it? Zara complex. Yes, Zara. And Mangala Sugar Project. Establishing production. And drink, yeah. Between country Canap, the Europe country, the oil mill. Okay. Suggestion from Ruang is already included. Reconcile our communities through conferences in the Greater Upper Nile region. I seconded the suggestion said by the Deputy Governor of Unity State for the conference of the Unity State and Ruang Administrative Area for the peaceful coexistence of people. Unity State to make plans for criminals to stop the cattle raiding in the state and the other neighbors states, the administrative areas. Bureau of Standards. Remove the Bureau of Standards from economic cluster. Is it part of the economic cluster? Do we generate money? Mary, you generate money? Huh? Yes.
Yes, Your Excellency. We don't generate money. We actually provide services. And through this service, this is where the money comes through. But the economic cluster includes us because we have some money there. That's why we'll be included under the economic cluster. We're supposed to be under the service cluster because we provide services to the nation, not collecting revenues. Thank you.
Okay. Support of the Bureau by the government for it to discharge its duties, that is at the borders and before goods leave to South Sudan beyond the borders. Yeah. Okay. Resolution, the metrics issued by the Ministry of Petroleum for the second and the third, for 2% and 3% be made automatic, not when the Ministry of Finance wants it. That is operationalization. He did not explain why the states have to request it, because I thought it was going to be automatic. Once it comes, it should be transferred to the state. But he was saying on request. It is not a delegated power. It's automatic, it's a right. The state will account for it. So that can be done automatically. Take this. Okay, from what we heard, first comment, your funds should be uniform. I noticed that your funds are not the same. Make them one. Okay? The structuring of sentences is also important. For example, okay, what more is not included? Okay. Yes, Sarah. I'll come to you, Kulo. Yeah, what is not included?
Thanks, Your Excellency. One more time. Yeah, I have shared a recommendation earlier with regard to the training centers, the food and medical supplies. I think that is really important because it the security of our states are threatened if the centers are not getting their supplies. So this should be provided until they are graduated and unified. Insecurity, because mostly those trainees, they leave their centers and going into the towns looking for food and all of that. And that one, we need to stop them to keep them in the training centers. So their supplies should come to them through the implementation mechanisms. The other thing, there's the language in terms of the RRC. I see that it states like the governors or commissioners should not interfere into RRC. I feel that that language is kind of putting RRC as a different part of the government, but it is still part of the government. So it should be a different language, or maybe take it out completely, because RRC is an independent commission and it's part of the government. So there has to be some regulations through the government. But by saying that RRC, there should be no interference, it's not that there is interference. These are cases, different cases in different states. So it should be either the language should be changed or that should be completely removed, because it's different from each state.
I thought the states now have commission for RRC, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's part of the state structure.
It is.
The writer has not perceived that this is now part of the state structure.
Yeah.
But then what he is mindful about is that you should not dismiss the staffs that may be national staff that are attached to the RRC. But your staff in the RRC, the state RRC, they have no interference.
They have no interference, but I just want to make sure that even because this language can be misinterpreted, then the RRC will go bananas and nobody could say anything. So I would just like to change this language, because other people will misinterpret it, that we are a different body and we're going to do whatever we want to do. So the governors and the state should not interfere. So we just need to change the language a bit.
I think it's the expulsion of NGOs that would be his worry. Because now you have RRC as a state structure that is dealing with the NGOs. Expelling them needs a process through you as the governor, and then to the ministry, and back to RRC.
Yeah.
I think there should be something of this type.
Yeah, it should be
Okay,
spelled correctly.
the
third, okay.
It would be restructured.
Okay.
It will not be taken the way he wrote it.
Okay. My last comment was also with regard to the phrase street children. I think there's been suggestion from our side. We don't want to call them street children. We call them children of South Sudan. And I also heard yesterday from Northern Bahar Dazal, they're calling them unaccompanied minors. So we need a better language for our children, not call them street children.
The general term all over the world is street children. It doesn't look nice. It doesn't sound nice to our culture, but that is how they do it. Call.
Thank you, Your Excellency, for giving me a chance. And I want to thank the Secretariat for a good job they did. Mine is just only addition. Number one, the forum is appealing to the government of national. So
Yeah, go ahead.
just additional recommendation as a resolution. The forum is appealing to our government of national government to expedite settlement of the final status of the area because people have suffered enough.
That's right.
Number two, I concur with His Excellency, the Vice President Tabandengai. The forum also appeal to the government, to the national government, to form a committee to define and demarcate the borders between the state and administrative area. It did not come here in the resolutions.
Yeah, he said that it is also being inserted. You are only emphasizing it.
I'm emphasizing it.
Okay.
Thank you. Finally, but not the least, I did not see the fact that what you have told Patrick here, that collection of PIT is a concurrent power between the national government and the state as came in the Transitional Constitution 2011. The resolution did not capture it.
It is there, but it is weak.
Then let them. Thank you very much.
Yeah. It's weak. He wrote it, but it is weak. Yes, next.
Thank you, Your Excellency. I think I have two. I feel that I have 2 points that are to be added. As we can see, the theme, which is the implementation of the agreement, when we were presenting, especially we in the Upper Nile, did not display those developmental, main projects, simply because we are devastated by war. So the revitalized transitional government of national unity should reconstitute the reconstruction funds so that we may become beneficiary for the reconstruction of our state. Second, I think this forum is important and that it should be conducted twice in a year. It is like each state is being, evaluated. It is like a performance contract of each state. So this will create a competition between states. So the more we do it in a shorter time, the more we can actually have the affinity to compete. Thank you.
So we return to holding the forum twice a year. Okay, now let me go to the ministers. They are complaining, and then I'll come back to you. Well, انت اللي يدك لسه فوق ده تعال. اديه المايك. اديه.
Thank you, First Vice President. I came only to give the 2 names which were proposed for the 3 children. By then, in 2012, when I was the Minister of Social Welfare, Mama Hood was there in the ministry here. We came for a workshop and we adopted 2 possible names to avoid the word the 3 children. It is either children without parental care or children without appropriate care. These were the names during when I was a minister. It was proposing, say that it sound well, either children without parental care or children without appropriate care. Thank you.
You don't use street children. You will not get funding from the rest. You don't have to be nice about it. Be straight. There is street children. There are organizations that support street children. And it is international, you know. So let's not shy away from it. It is true that they are in the streets. They could have even parents. Okay, but they're in the streets. They are not necessarily orphans. لا انت كلمت كثير دقيقة. اي بهناك Minister of livestock.
Thank you, Your Excellency. I have one of the observation, like what you said before. I think the Secretariat is mixing the resolution and the recommendations. I think they need to separate between resolution and recommendations. I know very well that recommendations are things which you could recommend, which you will not do. Resolution is within your task, you can do it. So these things should be separated. Another issue which I want to comment on, yesterday there was talks on police, national police, state police, and then also there is needs of community police. I think this should be made that there is a need for state police to be established by all the states, as well as the community police, instead of centralizing the police here, because according to our constitution, there is state police which can be established in every state, and this will help maintain the security in all the states. Thank you so much, but I would like to pass the phone, the mic to Honorable Aoud.
Okay. You give it to her.
Am I allowed? Your Excellency? Thank you, Your Excellency, the first Vice President. I just look at the resolution and there is no single resolution about education. So I don't even know why I was here. So I thought.
I already told you they're not Ahmed of the Hadith.
I have given Your Excellency my recommendation.
Yeah, you gave
that
recommendation, they did not capture them because we need to upgrade the strengthening. So you're right. I agree with you.
Because this forum, if it goes away without saying anything about education and they are the one implementing, so I don't know what they are going to say in the state. So my recommendation is that we need to improve the condition of service for teachers to facilitate quality education in South Sudan.
This is very important.
And it needs to be handled by the presidency. My second recommendation is going to be...
The government must do that.
It falls within the holes there. So we need to pin the body down.
Okay.
The second recommendation, Your Excellency, is on the issue of conditional transfer for salaries of the teachers, operation costs for the schools and states, which goes for primary and secondary school, to be promptly paid by the Minister of Finance in the state to the ministries of education in the states, so that it goes to the states and goes to the counties. And that provision is within the transfer. The money goes as a whole block, but there is that provision for those who are transferring to the state. So it is to facilitate education there. So that is my second recommendation that should appear in the resolution. The The other one, which is key, the land, a school land that has been allocated to businesses, to private individual, all the governors must ensure that this land is returned to the education and prohibit the sales of the school lands to private business or individual. This is important because we have lost so much land. And Juba girls, those who have went to school, including Dr. Julia here, she doesn't recognize her school because it is all shops. So want the land back to education. Thank you.
Including me, I went to school here in Juba. Yeah. Juba one. Okay. Yes, Minister.
Thank you, Your Excellency. This one doesn't have pages, but at the last page, where it says, and they're not numbered also, engage with the governments of neighboring countries with a view to ending peacefully the encroachment on border areas of our country. Last time I was here, I did the presentation. We are already engaging with them. We have a border committee that is talking to them. We just need that border committee to be facilitated, to attend the meetings. Now they have another meeting coming up, and they might not get the money. So we want to put there that the Ministry of Finance should continue to prioritize this issue of the border committee, to be able to attend the meetings. And the second part of that is that my recommendation to Your Excellency is that you upgrade this committee to a commission, to a national border commission, so we can unify all these border issues and put them together as one. This is my thing there as a
You captured that.
the minister. Yeah, the minister of so if they can capture that.
Okay.
And then, yeah, advise the governors to tune down their language with our neighbors and leave it to Ministry of Foreign Affairs to deal with this issue. Thank you.
But they're letting you. It's not bad. Not bad, because then you will be proactive. The money not. Yes, that's super.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Mine, there are two areas that I just wanted to talk about. One is to encourage the governors, just an advice to the governors, to sensitize their respective constituencies on the issue of devolution of power and resources and responsibilities in their different levels of government, and particularly educating the people about the revitalized agreement, which I felt is very, very important, because the agreement help to prepare the ground for people to know what is going to happen in the next constitution, which is right now in the process. Number two, people have talked about the issue of cattle movement, and then also challenges in reference to what happened when they move. So I'm saying that we should encourage zero grazing, at least to curtail conflict due to the cattle movement. Thank you.
Zero grazing will be done by somebody like you.
That would be great. Actually, be very happy to help.
Because the pastoralists, they don't understand it. It means that the urban people have to get into that business of rearing cattle, put them in a fence, the zero graze. You provide the all the grass that they need, hay, you provide it. This is when they, once they see it, and you produce more milk than them, and you are selling and buying, this is when they will come to zero grazing. But once we leave it to them, they don't. They do it what they do it the way their grandfathers have been doing. Any other question from yes, Dr. Josephine?
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. I've noticed that the recommendations and resolutions are mainly regarding services delivery, which is correctly so. But I think at the end of the implementation of the peace agreement, we should be holding a fair and credible elections. And therefore, the Artigonu should be creating a conducive environment for the conduct of this election as we slowly implement the agreement. Thank you, Your Excellency.
Yes. Bendogo?
Yes, sir.
Faddal.
I thank God very much. Stand in this hall and make some comments. I thank my dear brother Yakucha for giving me the chance. May God bless you. I have been listening yesterday to today, and I did not hear some very important terminology which are going to be used or which are being used around the world. I would really recommend that our governors would promote culture of peace and coexistence among the citizens and their neighbors. Culture of peace is a modern terminology being used by the UN, and it is being spoken everywhere, especially by the leaders like you, because it talks about how can we coexist. And below this culture of peace, there are terminologies, 8 domains below it. Among them is democracy. You know very well that in the CPA, democracy was embodied in it. These terms, Mr. Vice President, First Vice President, can tell us where are we really hitting. But for me, particularly, I am trying to promote peace among our people. We want peace very bad in this country. And to do this, we must change our system, good governance. And to good governance, the rule of law, or dear governors, the rule of law. They do that, then we are very lucky. Finally, the efficient and effective delivery of services to the citizens. If we do that, then we are really enjoying peace. Thank you very much, my dear brother. May God bless you.
Thank you. في واحد ورا هناك ورا هناك.
Thank you, Your Excellency. I have one clarification and maybe announcement. It's not a bad announcement. I'm the owner of the question of RRC. I'm Uyunyok, the executive director. Yeah, when I say governors, it's not all of them. Let me agree with 2 governors. But there are some states which are doing the mistakes, those that I complain for. One of the states is the state of Deputy Governor of Upper Nile. I was in Malakal 2 weeks back, and I was in Wow. I went to Upper Nile twice to go and solve the problem of rank. RRC is not only facilitating relief, but also we are facilitating development projects. Now there's a huge community development project going on funded by World Bank. And it is in 10 states. And most of these states are in Greater Upper Nile. And I was very happy with the governor of Upper Nile when I was there. The way he's addressing or helping, because it's a completely community-based project. It's called Enhancing Community Resilience and Local Government Project. That replaces Logozit. So, one live example in Upper Nile, we have a case now of a speedboat of one NGO, which was taken either by force or illegally in Pashoda. And that boat we investigate boat appeared to be doing business between Bor and Juba. It is a case right now. And that NGO want to pull out. Who is going to render those services? Simply because we are taking their assets. Another live example, but that one was not a big mistake, was in Northern Barghazal last year. When project ends, and we said, okay, project was on health, and they have 4 vehicles. We said, okay, give 2 vehicles to Ministry of Health. There in the state, not in national. And then other 2 vehicles can go, one to RRC and another one to Office of Governor. The governor will go and support whatever county that is seen to be having problem with transport or mobility. The sole vehicle, we managed to capture it through national security. I don't know whether that buyer has been given his money back or not, but the vehicle, we recovered it back. So these are not all states, but these are some few states. When we come to 2 RRC, let me make it very clear. The RRC of before always is composed of 7 members, 7 staff at state level, and 3 in neighbor county. RRC never entered system of 32 states. We are still maintaining 10. The whole 10, the current 10 now. We did not expand to 32 states because these are the 10 states registered by our partners. So we don't have any problem with those other 32 state staff, because our staff, the staff I'm talking about, are civil servants. Some are provisionally appointed, but they're still getting salary. So now some commissioners are pulling them up, firing them, and replacing them. So what we do, we say, okay, somebody who has been fired will go away with his salary. But any dispute between NGO operating in that location and the new staff will not come into solution. Because we are dealing with the international community. If any problem, we always do it together with Ministry of International Cooperation, was our career in that case, because most of international staff can have a dispute with our local staff or with the government or with even us as RRC. So it is not all governors, but some few governors are doing that. That's why I'm creating a tension so that one never happen.
Thank you.
The announcement. We have usual rice always come from China, is on the way. And I want to ask honorable governors, when it's arrived, transport to your location is yours. You don't have funding for transporting it. It was only 1 year that presidency support the transport. But I don't know, this year we will try to apply to His Excellency First Vice President. If they provide transport, okay. If not, will be sole responsibility of the governor. And again, when you are distributing that food, though it is directly supplied to government, involve those agencies that are on ground to be witnessed, so that we have a clear report for other countries to help us. that we are accountable to our supplies or our donations. Thank you very much.
اخوانا لازم تكون واحد في هناك واحد تاني هنا. Governor, you want to talk? Your neighbor to left. Is you raise your hand? Okay.
Thanks, Honorable Chair, Ephraim Wani Peter. With the revitalized government, we are now working as a clusters. And I have a very deep thinking that the Secretariat should note this very carefully. That the resolution that you're going to resolve, let it be cluster by cluster, because after this, we're going to embark on clusters to follow the resolution and the recommendations. We have governing clusters by seniority, by the way. So that when you write, you follow the seniority. The governance cluster is chaired by the first vice president. The economic cluster is chaired by Dr. Waniga. The service cluster is chaired by Hussein Abdul Bagi. And then infrastructure cluster is chaired by Taban Dengai. And then the last is social cluster. Why I mention this? Because when you are writing resolutions, we're going to divide this resolution embarking on the clusters. And some of the resolutions we're going to discuss at the cluster level. So I'm asking my honorable minister, the minister in the office of the president, to insert one of the DGs in the governance cluster to the secretariat, because the language is very low. I wanted a government language that direct the country to follow what is written. But this is the language you're using is academic language. So turn it to a political language driving the country. Thanks.
He is right. Yes, he's there. Yeah, the one who's gray. Yeah, gray. That's him.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Some of the things that we have written already, things you have covered them. I will only go with the missing one, but I wanted to also echo the point made by the RRC director. You know, in the states, we have some national commission that are sent to the state to work with the governors. And those are the ones facing a lot of problem with the current revitalized peace agreement. Because some of the national commission are not yet reconstituted. And that needs to be done. And that is causing a lot of problems and confusion at the state level. So I really understand what you are coming through, because we have the same challenge. In Northern Bargadal, we already addressed that. My point, one of them was already said by the Minister of Education, but I will not go there. The other one is that the forum, and this one is going to the Secretariat, because we need to separate the resolution and recommendations. So those two must go together, because that will help us follow the resolution and recommendation. But one of the recommendations we are putting forward is that the forum is appealing to the National Ministry of Humanitarian and Disaster Management and partners to support the state government to construct a community diet. Because community diet, we already started that, and there is a program already existing with UNDP. So we believe that this thing needs to be incorporated into the resolution, because we will be using this resolution shared with our partners for implementation. So I think that's what we want to add, and I think most of our things are already tabled. Thank you very much. The other one for Secretariat, please refer to way forward, because way forward half the part of them are resolution, and they are also recommendation for the forum. Thank you very much.
Governor of Jonglei. Now what we'll do finally is to reinforce the Secretariat. And anybody who feels he can be a hand to them can remain behind and because what was said by Ali was right. We need to restructure the recommendations and the resolutions. If you don't do it by cluster, then you do it by other subjects that have been covered, floods, humanitarian, something. We need to restructure it. The wording must flow. No rumbling sentences. They must be direct. Yes.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency. Earlier, I asked a question, but I don't think I have heard any answer.
I'll answer it.
Okay. So my other intervention is that we need in the resolutions, I wrote it there, but I did not hear in the resolution that there should be peace engagement between Jonglei states and people administrative area.
This is still with me here.
Okay, so thank you so much for that. The other thing is what we just heard from the RRC. To my colleagues, the minister, the national ministers and the commissions here in Juba, we feel very disrespected when we hear such a statement, where a mistake of one state or one administrative area is generalized to everybody. This doesn't go so well. When you feel that you're doing everything in your capacity, but all of a sudden you're being blamed. We're not saying that we cannot make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes, even here, the national government.
What is it that was generalized?
It was generalized that governors are interfering in the work of RRC. This is what was said. It was not specifics to what he just said. Now he just mentioned 2 states, but earlier the question was that the governors are interfering. And this, Your Excellency, we've been hearing all along, even on the streets of Juba, that governors are doing this, governors are doing this. This has something that's been happening, and we are calling our colleagues that let's have a proper communication from the national government to the state government. Once we do that, even our government business will flow smoothly. But if we don't do that, then our working relationship will not go smoothly. Thank you.
Thank you. I think, let me read the contributions from the floor. Somebody say this is the governance forum, and the key resolutions, recommendations should be made by governors and should focus on state concerns. I think we're all doing it together. Governor to review its salary, government to review its salary structure to conform to the economic needs, pay timely across the country. Okay. The 5th State Forum, and I think he meant 5th Governors Forum, to continue support and encourage the President of the Republic of South Sudan to pursue efforts of peaceful dialogues internally and externally in the region of conflicts between Okay, let me read it. The region of conflicts between Ethiopia and Egypt on the issue of Grand Dam, also on border crisis between Sudan and Ethiopia. This also includes the internal conflict between Ethiopia government and TPLF of Tigray. The 5th Governors Forum also supports the President efforts on Juba peace efforts on Sudan conflict, as well as the Rome Initiative with all our groups. Restructuring is because we had a presentation from Dr. Maria and all this, something must appear about that presentation. The other is eviction of all those who occupy the school land, schools land. The Article should establish reconstruction funds for the reconstruction of the status, for the reconstruction of the states that are devastated by the civil. Okay. The Governors Forum be conducted twice a year, and also counties forum twice a year. It's commissioners forum. Peace engagement between Jonglei State and people administrative area. Can you come and take this? Let me answer the question which was asked by Governor of Jonglei. I don't know which one were you referring to, because most of the topics we discussed here came from you, from the floor. There are issues that the principals discussed. I did not bring them up, and none of the vice presidents brought them up. So we are skillful. We know we know how to get people together and make sure that the party differences do not divide the government. So I didn't understand what was the reference about the divisions. But we hear also divisions in the states, the lack of cooperation between governor versus the deputy governor, or yeah, like that. But we try to resolve it from where we are. It is when you bring party issues, governance issues, that you clash, immediately clash. But if you purely discuss governance issues, you do a wonderful job together. You have not heard of the Council of Ministers issues that it discussed that divide them. We always find a way. If we found them that those issues need to be discussed by the parties, then the leaders of the party go and discuss it by principle. Then we do discuss this. So I didn't understand what was your reference in your question. Now I noticed that in all the resolutions, it looks as if COVID-19 is not around. No mention of it. In the presentation, few people did, but in our recommendations and the resolutions, nothing. Yeah, you wrote, is this yours? This one is yours? Okay. Give him a mic.
Al Jazeera and other news outlets, I was saying that COVID-19 we have to take serious as a nation, Your Excellency. And I think we have to come out with a resolution. The Vice President of the Republic, who is also the chair of the National Task Force on COVID-19, and all of us have to come with a very strong resolution as far as COVID-19 is concerned. In two areas. Safety of the people of South Sudan versus also control measures. Because we are told there is new variant.
Make a resolution, make
Yes.
a recommendation.
I'm giving information.
Okay.
But the doctors and the task force were told that it is B11529 variant that is discovered in our sister country of South Africa. And this is all over the news, which is said to be very deadly. So I really appeal that I want to join our senior citizen, Minister of Animal Resources, Onyoti, who I want to refer to be one of the serious persons observing COVID-19 SOPs. So I'm joining you, my brother. It's a matter of life and death, Your Excellency. So I wrote earlier, but thank you. You have taken note of it. Thank you.
Okay, we should make it resolutions, some points on COVID-19. The fact that we call on our population not to ignore it. It's a real danger. It's developing. They should be vaccinated. They should conform to the directives from the task force on how to prevent spreading COVID-19 in the population. Now, I want to give two chances to religious leaders in their contribution. They've been silent. They want to contribute. We'll start
Thank you very much, Vice President. Always, we as the religious leaders, when we are called for these meetings, for this conference, we know that we have two mandates. One is to pray, to open the conference with prayers, and second is to observe only, to observe, not to talk. But thank you very much for giving me this opportunity so that I share also with you in this conference. Your Excellency, Father of all, first of all, I would like to thank government of South Sudan and the leadership of His Excellency, President of the Republic, General Salva Kiir Mayardit, for recognizing us as religious leaders and for recognizing the religious institutions in South Sudan, for giving us a chance to initiate other religious institutions within the government. That is religious affairs in the office of the president, which was led by my friend, Reverend Moses Telar, that is in the office of the president. And then under that institution, there are two directives. There's a directive for Islamic affairs, and then there's the directives for Christian affairs. This is in the office of the president. Open for that also to giving us a chance to have advisor for religious affairs in South Sudan. So we thank him for that, because this means that he recognized us as religious leaders in South Sudan. Secondly, as the religious, we didn't hear something for the governors here, for the importance of the religious in the states and for the dangers of the religious also in the states. As we know that we are sometimes good and sometimes we are very bad. As known all over the world, we as a Muslims particularly, we have many problems. The Al-Qaeda is there, Boko Haram is there, ICC is there, and then this all in our back. And so this means that we as a Muslim community in South Sudan, we have to coordinate with the government to control our institutions in South Sudan, so that we don't give a chance for such people to come in and then to interfere our people in South Sudan. As example now, because things are open in South Sudan, many people now come in, they start to initiate mosques, because we as a South Sudanese, we are good people. If someone come and say he's a religious leader, I want to initiate a church, which not a problem, we just initiate it. And then now these things happen in the last years. We observed that many mosques were initiated in some mosques in South Sudan, and then they were lead with some people who we don't know them, and then also the language which is taught that they pray with it in these mosques are not the language which we know, so we don't know what exactly they are talking about. So we want to take this issue seriously. Even well, no matter no facile, but they are there. Even in the churches, there's some of the churches now in South Sudan also. They were lead with some people who are not South Sudanese. They don't know our cultures. So also we want this issue to take. We want to take it seriously in South Sudan, so that we control our religious system which we are living in. We have what we call that Ataishi Dini, Jamhuriyat Junub Sudan. So we want to keep it. We move with it ahead. No Muslim, no Christian, all of us, we are together. And then Adin Lillah wal Watan lil Jami. This because prevention is better than treatment. Al-wikaya khayru min al-ilaj. So we have to take this seriously. Number 3, I want to talk, it's good that our governors are here. We have many problems in the states. Like yesterday, when Minister of Higher Education is representing his talk, said it is talk about the Bahar Ghazal University. But Bahar Ghazal University is our institution. We just give them because the situation now, they don't have the university. That is why we give them. But what we want is that let them agree that it is our institution. So we give them until they build their university. When they build it and then they will leave our institution, then we take it. And then also we have a problem with our lands in the states. So I want the brothers governors to take it seriously. So these lands is for us as a Muslim community in South Sudan. We are the part of this community, and then we have our system as our brothers, Christians. They have their schools from nursery to primary, secondary school, and then they have their universities. We as a Muslim community, we have the same. We have a nursery, we have primary school, we have secondary school. Now, right now, we're in the South Sudan Islamic University in our secondary school of Mahad. That some people call it that is Juba Banat, but that is not Juba Banat because Hajar al-Asas is there, Mahad, Sanawi, Al-Ilmi. Because we have 5 Mahads in South Sudan, one in Mahad in Juba, we have in Malakal, we have in Wau, we have in Adok, we have in Yei. These are our Mahads. In Kadok, yes, we have them. This is our Mahad. So we think that our governors are here. Please, you just help us, and then you help our communities, because always we have a problem. They are to talk to us about these institutions, about these lands. So we want you also to help us in matter of these lands. The last one is that the teaching of the religious. In South Sudan, there was one colleague asked about it, how we are going to teach Islamic studies in South Sudan. Islamic studies in South Sudan, because we have Quran, cannot be changed to any other language, to English or to French, it cannot change. We are going to read it in Arabic, and then what we are going to do is that to translate it in English or in a local language that will be available, but to translate the Quran to any language, that is not allowed. And then secondly, Lugha al-Arabiya, because we want to teach it so that if you have more than 5, 6 languages now on the earth, you're the best one. Because so even me, I urge our brothers here to learn Arabic. Because when you know Arabic, you know the French and then English and then local language. Me, especially now, I'm speaking 9 languages. So this means that maybe, so I'm asking my brothers also to learn Arabic and then English, because Arabic will become the language to all over South Sudan. We understand each other with Arabic. So if we say that we don't know to learn Arabic, I think because people difference between classic Arabic and the local Arabic, but they're all the same. If you know classic Arabic, this means that to learn local Arabic will be very simple to you. So this is what I want to contribute with you, Your Excellency Vice President, and thank you for giving me this opportunity. Thank you very much.
Thank you. موسى عندك كلام ولا أي حاجة؟ موسى. That is Moses. What's Musa?
I'm Moses Dilar Sherwood, the Director of the Bureau of Religious Affairs in the Office of the President. Your Excellency, the Vice President, the first Vice President, allow me just to mention three things. The background of religious affairs and the achievement that we have done and the challenges that are facing me in the office since the establishment in 2003, when we were still collaborators. Religious affairs was mandated, and it was a demand from the religious leaders that we should have a liaison office that facilitate the work between the movement by then and the religious leaders. So the very famous forum, and you have one time shared it in 2010, that is called Kijiko 1, 1997 in Yei. That conference convinced, and the demand delayed until 2003 for the establishment of the desk for religious affairs. In fact, we should have a forum, because we have a forum of Kijiko, which is numbering, which I don't buy. In 2007, I put it 2 institutions to be built. Kijiko to be a center for the dialogue between the government and the religious leaders. 2, the Center for Reconciliation, which I managed to get a little fund, and we have now a wall in Rombe. That is a Center of Reconciliation. We have a wall built 40 by 60. And I'm still demanding that we should have a center in Yei, in Kijiko, and then the one of Rumbe is a community to community, that is people to people peace dialogue, which is in Rumbe. So with that little background, how we came to survive in the institution, first we were in Janda, and then in 2011 we were being taken by your help to be in the office of the president. And more addition with your help, you have upgraded it from the directorate to become a Bureau of Religious Affairs. Now, I have the policies and the strategic plan. The strategic plan of 2012, which we reviewed in 2019, with the National Development Strategic Plan that to consolidate peace and economic development. With the review of that document of the strategic plan, we have come out in the National Development Strategic Plan outcome, feel safe to go about their business. That is the outcome of the National Strategic Plan. The National Development Strategic deliverable is to silence the gun, which I intended to become disarming the heart to silence the gun. And then my directorate strategic objective is to enhance a national dialogue and reconciliation, which was taken by the politician and given to the politician. When my strategic objective was taken to be a national dialogue, I was going also with my strategic objective. I was going and I took the sample of 6 states in 2017. And then before the national dialogue took place, I was already ahead of my strategic plan that to enhance the national dialogue and reconciliation. And we began with the 6 states, namely in Greater Bargazal, we went to Wow and Rumbek. As one of the hottest spots, we were addressing the issue of peace with what we call hotspot. Wow was hotspot, and at the same time, Lake State was one of the hottest spot. So we took Lake in Greater Baraguzan and then Wow. Then again in Greater Equatoria, we took Ye and Torit. And in Greater Upper Nile, it was Malakal and Reng. These were the sample that we took from 6 states, and we have critically analyzed, and we have come out with a resolution or recommendation. In fact, we got some of the states there was no life, and especially Malakal. Tor was the governor by that time. There was no life in Malakal. But we managed to bring the POC in Malakal and the Malakal town to integrate, and especially by the time of prayers. So we say, instead of separating one state to be having POC and the town, let us build the relationship between the town and the POC, which we managed to break through. And Malakal was, by that time, people were working to POC, and the people of POC were coming back to. We have launched that book, and I like that I should give you some of the copies.
You wind up.
Okay.
There's another function.
Okay. So again, I want to talk on the street children because of limited of time. We shall discuss if we can get money. We shall be having a forum. The issue of the street children, I have managed to make a program as a religious program in my office. And I have now 3 years doing that. We are celebrating the Christmas with the street children for the last 3 years. And the way we are doing it, we are closing them in that Christmas. We are giving them food. We are cleaning their wounds. And the debate has just come out from the floor here. I want to assure you, I had also a conference with the street children 3 times. I called them into my office and I talked to them. Let us not divert or be afraid of saying they are not street children. Why they are on the street. They themselves, they have said, we are protesting, and that is why they are on the street. If we are not now mindful about our wealth as human is better than material. Now, in their statement, they are saying they are protesting from their families, from their government, and from their religious leaders. And that is why they are on the street. So how can you change their protest and you want to name them in your name? They have already said it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Now, from the two presentations, one, we support the activities of the religious organizations as usual. We continue supporting them. Two, the institutes that were mentioned by Sheikh, what he said is true. I remember writing a circular asking the state governments to hand over the properties of the Muslims to the Muslims. They had properties. Some people wanted to grab them. We've managed to return them. The 5 institutes, the Mahad Elmi in Juba, now I think it is Jongarang Girls School, isn't it? This is Mahad Elmi. The other one in Malakal. The other one is in Kodok. And then, wow. Those are their institutions. Why? They were built using Muslim endowments. During the regime of Abud, the Ministry of Education and Instruction used to be called Ministry of Knowledge and Endowment. And وزارة المعارف والأوقاف. So الأوقاف بتاعت المسلمين يبنوا بهم المعاهد. It's good that they have property. At the times, there will also be tertiary institutions. It is always good to have a religious leader or a person who is a believer who knows his religion. When you have somebody who is a believer and doesn't know his religion, they become fanatic. And fanaticism brings terrorism. So أحسن لك أن يكون عندك مسلم عارف دين في محل أنه هو يكون متطرف ولا يعرف دين. And that is why Sheikh was concerned about new trends of I don't know whether it's Islam coming in. The Sudanese Islam is Sufi and Sunni. I don't know whether we have we don't have. He might know whether we have Shia. I think will not be counted. Most of the Sudanese, whether in the north or in the south, are Sunni, and so it's best to return those properties to them. There are orders which were given long time ago that these properties be delivered to them. We have been encouraging them also to establish a university. when we came in to establish the government of Southern Sudan. In Juba, there was the Islamic Omdurman Islamic University branch, and there was the Quran University branch in Juba, in Malakal, and in Wau. I personally engaged the chancellors of these universities, the vice chancellors of these universities in Khartoum. Rather closing them down, they should remain open and be consolidated so that the Muslim children can get education, not necessarily the Muslim children, people who are interested to go to those universities would also do. In the region, we south of us in Uganda, there is an Islamic university there. And I believe also in Kenya and the rest. So it's better we evacuate them. If Bahar Ghazal University is occupying part of the Mahad, we would encourage them to build other campuses so that they can hand over that institution to its rightful owners. I know they would have difficulties running them at this stage, but as long as they keep talking about that, the best course of action is to hand them over and provide the Islamic education they want to provide to the Muslim children. I think we have no more questions, or there is. You guys are invited to go and, you should go and prepare.
Yeah.
Yeah. 5:30 you have a function.
Thank you, Your Excellency. I just want to have 2 or 3 minutes to answer.
1 minute only.
The RRC. I think the RRC has brought it to our knowledge at the state government. The governor is here, and the delegation from the Upper Nile, that there is a case where the government is involved in the expansion of the NGOs or the RRC, which I don't remember.
You say dismissal of. Actually, 9 states have dismissed.
What I'm aware is that before the appointment of the state government of Upper Nile State, there was a problem going on in Iran between the youth and the NGO. There has been a very serious problem that even involved destruction of the NGO asset, especially mid-hair. And when the state government was constituted or reconstituted, that problem has been going on over the issue of the employment of youth. I think the RRC, led by the deputy RRC commission, somebody by name Santino Bol, has been visiting Rang with the high delegation from the donors several times. And the issue was not resolved. Until when we becomes properly functioning as the state government, I led the delegation to Rang. At a time when decision was really needed. And that situation was resolved. This year, we were appreciated by the UNOHR, the NGOs, humanitarian community, and even us, the state, where we managed to convene the youth that there is a need for humanitarian agencies to continue operating in Iran.
and the issue of the employment will be handled later. I thought RRC should appreciate that, and I thought it was a very positive steps that involved the state government. We thought that we were doing all what was enough. It is unfortunate that it is raised here, and even all the state government, especially the governors, start to questioning themselves with the issue that they don't know, and even how we don't know. And again, the question raised about the board, we even don't know. Maybe it is an individual act, as you put it. I think this is the wrong forum where it can be raised. So I kindly request that the RRC, if there are issues with Upper Nile, if there are issues within Upper Nile State RRC or the NGOs or the humanitarian community, we are very free and more welcoming and a scenario that need the involvement of the government in a fair ways. So I will still see to it, I still seeing to it that we are playing a positive role, and we have the support, and we have to support the NGOs or the humanitarian agencies as whole, as well as the RRC. So feel welcome to come to our coordination or the states, and you will be answered for the rest of the issues. Otherwise, we don't have the issue. Shukran.
I provided the last will be you. Yes, the entire. Oh, it's grabbed.
Huh?
I say you grabbed it. Okay.
Yeah, I grabbed it. Sorry.
I was saying something.
Yeah, thank you, Your Excellency, the First Vice President. في حاجات هنا بزور ممكن يمشي بيه. عايز أوضح لمعالي الوزيرة وزيرة المالية في ولاية غطي بحر الغزال عن موضوع تحويل مرتبات التابع لمحافظة راجع. صحيح؟ محافظة الراجع واحد هو كان عاصمة بتاعت ولاية لون، وبعد اندماج الولايات مرتبات بتاعت محافظة الراجع بتمشي في أويل ولاية شمال بحر الغزال بسبب إنه الميزانية ما فصلت. أنا عقدت اجتماعين مع المناديب، في اثنين نفرين مناديب من راجع بيجوا واو أمين بيجوا أويل وكل وقت كل شهر أو كل ما يمشي المرتبات بمشي بيستلموا المرتبات بتاعهم شهريا، وبيشيلوا برضه سيل تاكس. سيل تاكس ده بطلع من هنا من وزارة المالية الاتحادية موزع على 3 counties اللي هو أويل نورث، أويل ويست، and then راجع. فالقروش ده بتمشي شهريا ما غابت خالص. كل الشهور اللي تم الصرف لحد شهر 6 المضت ده تم استلامه تماما للراجع. في 2 مناديب هم موجودين، وانا صرفت توجيهات لوزاره الماليه في الولايه، وناس قاعدين يستلموا قروشهم. حقوا يسالوا نفرين ديلك عشان ما يقولوا ناس اويل شالوا قروش بتاعت راجع. الكلام ده ما صحيح. القروش ديل مشى للمناديب بتاع راجع وهم موجودين، يعني القروش ده مشى ولايه. الشيء الاخير عايز اقوله سعادتك، نحن في الولايه الاستوائيه الوسطى اللي هو هوست ستيت. I suppose to thank the government and the people of Central Equatoria لأنه هم اللي استقبلونا وهم اللي استضافونا ونحن قعدنا في الولاية. كمؤتمر بتاع الحكام لا بد من الحكام أن يشكروا حاكم المستضيف. ما نمشي ساكت، نحن نشكر حاكم المستضيف مع الشعب بتاعه. الفرق بس إذا كان المؤتمر دي في أي واحدة من الولايات كان حاكم الولاية بيستقبل الحكام الجايين كلهم مع المواطنين بتوعهم. بيهشلهم وبمشي بيستقبلوا لانه دي حدث. لكن احنا جايين في عاصمه ما بكون في زول عارف، نحن الحكام جينا في ظلومه وجينا حضرنا المؤتمر. لكن هسه لو يتحول لاي ولايه من الولايات اكيد هيكون حدث فريد، ناس هتبتهج، هيكون في استقبالات كبيره جدا جدا لفخامتك وللناس الماشيين معاك ولكل الناس. عشان كده نحن برضه بنقول كلام دي. نقطه ثانيه عايز اشكر قدام المؤتمر جنرال رين حاكم ولايه البحيرات لإعادة بتاع الأمن والاستقرار في ولاية البحيرات، ودي بيدينا عمل وبدي عمل للمواطنين بتاعنا في بحر الغزال وبالتحديد في شمال بحر الغزال، إنه هيمشوا في ولاية بتاعهم سالمين عاملين، ما بكون في دين ثاني، لأنه زمان الناس بمشوا بدينهم في الطريق، فدي كان عقبة، دي كان بخوف ناسنا. أكيد بنشكرك سيد الحاكم قدام المؤتمر عشان الناس نحن مطمئنين لعمل العمل General Rin. The last thing is the issue of RRC. I want to assure the Governors Forum and the director from RRC that what you talk about not happened totally in Northern Bahar Ghazal. I had a briefing from Deputy Governor that there was 4 cars belong to organization MIDAR, and I think the project is still going on. They said RRC, I think they received 3 cars, and then 1 car was given to Ministry of Health. There is no any security appear and detain the cars. Nothing like that happened in Northern Bahar at all. Nothing. So we are a peaceful state. We don't have any problem with the national institutions or any kind of that. Thank you, Your Excellency.
شكرا. وزير المالية ويسترن إكواتوريا وبعد الدول القدام. جاي تاخذ أول.
شكرا للفرصة مرة ثانية، دي فرصة ظرفية عشان أنا نقوم نوضح لسيد الحاكم بالبلاغ شمال بحر الغزال. أنا أفتكر أنا كنت اتصلت فيه قبل كده بالتليفون، وهنا كنا في جوبا هنا، فأنا اتصلت كان في وزير المالية شمال بحر الغزال، قلت له إحنا الاثنين نقوم ونمشي وزارة المالية القومي هنا عشان ما نشوفوا مشاكل بتاعت الولاية اللول لفصل المرتب بتاع مغاتة راجع. فقال لي خلاص كويس صباح انا بديك التليفون عشان نمشي. فجاء صباح الساعه 6 قلت له التليفون، ما رفع التليفون لحد الساعه 8. انا لبست قماش ومشيت وزاره ماليه. انا لما مشيت في القسم بتاع البجت قال لي زول لها كان هنا وطلع. ده واحد. 2 انا لما مشيت في القسم بتاع البجت جوا ناس البجت ادوني ميزانيه بتاعت مغاتة الراجع 3 مليون. ال3 مليون ده قال ميزانيه بتاع مغاتة راجع بما فيه الخدمات بتاع المويه والصحه والتعليم. قال لي انت وقع في قروجه وتشيله. فانا رفضت، قلت له انا ما بستلم قروجه لانه انا لما كنت موظف سكري في وزاره التربيه بتاعت ولايه غرب بحر غزال انا كنت اعرف مرتب بتاعت مغاتة راجع في وزاره التربيه كان ما بكون قروش مغاتة راجع كامل، بكون 3 مليون. الشيء انا بعرفه في مغاتة راجع ميزانيه مغاتة راجع لما قاعد يمشي عويل القروش اللي قاعد يطلع في مغاتة راجع واصلا كان قروش بتاعت العمال والموظفين شغالين في داخل المغاتة. اما الموظفين اللي كانوا في الولايه في الوزارات ده نهائيا قروشهم ما قاعدين بدوم. احنا بدنا نقول كلام كثير، يمكن في حاجات بتكون من اسرار. وزاره الماليه بالوعد قالوا لي يا اخي قروش قالوا لنا شويه ناكلوا بالوعد، قالوا لي كده قروش قالوا شويه هنا ناكلوا، يعني ما قاعد نمشي ما قاعد نمشي ما قاعد نمشي راجع نهائيا. فاحنا طالبين ولاياوي بالمتاخر بتاع 6 شهور من بعد اعلان بتاعت المغاتة نائب بتاعت الولايات ال10. احنا طالبين القروش بتاعتنا من من ميلاداوين.
طيب
وشكراً.
نحن نعمل ريزولوشن ان الاستحقاقات بتاعت راجع راسل من جوا يمشي ل واو كويس simple as that ده الريزولوشن بتاعتنا كويس. اذا بقى في متاخرات في انه ناس اول تمشي تطالب بالمتاخرات بتاعتهم ممكن يقطعوا منهم ويرسلوا لكم لمحلكم مشان تلقى حق بتاعتكم. Okay, I think this is done. The guy with the red cap. ايوه انا ما خلاص زين انتهينا. ده شنو عايزين؟ ما انتم ماشيين تمشوا تاكلوا. Huh? Yes, I'll give you a...
Thank you, Your Excellency. Finally, I think it's 4 days. The question, mine actually is a little bit comment and a question at the same time. Your Excellency, it appeared in the resolution, what is believed to be resolution. Up to now, it is not resolution because the governors are supposed to go through it before it becomes a resolution. It appeared on the screen before in the first point.
بكره ويقولوا
Okay, it's fine. But the recommendation
they will own it tomorrow.
is okay. One of the recommendations, Your Excellency, was that the first point that talk of expedite the implementation of our access, especially the training of graduation and deployment of forces. This point
It's a recommendation.
was disputed by Governor of Eastern Equatoria, and this is the one I want to say here because it's not here. In his recommendation when he was leaving, he said, instead of saying this point, expedite implementation, training, graduation, and unification, instead we say we support the implementation of our access. That was the point, and I think instead of deleting the other one and replacing it with the other one, the two of them were put. According to the current, you see, this point is still there up to now. Okay? I'm very concerned to remind you on that. Thank you.
You can put them separately. يا اخوانا انتهينا. انا بالسكرتاري I want you to make a resolution establishment of the local government councils as soon as possible, so that the funding as a recommendation, establishment of local government councils and the municipalities and the county councils, so that the structures at the state and the local government are complete. And that has to be included. Okay. Mr. Wise was here. Oh, he has left? Okay. Well, I think tomorrow we come back at the same time. Before I say that, that's the governor's forum. Does it have a headed paper, Dr. Mariel? Or Michael?
No,
do you have a headed paper or?
No, Your Excellency. We have not yet prepared for that.
So it is ministry, the head,
Yes, the
presidential affairs?
Yes, ministry.
And then governor's forum?
Yeah.
Okay. So that should be the first page of it. Are we reinforcing these guys with guys who know Those who want to volunteer, Ahmed Abdul Halim type. Yeah. Woman Ahmed Abdul Halim. خلاص كويس. But if there's anybody who wants to volunteer and join them, do. Tomorrow we come at or before that أنا بقوله هسه. Well, it is one of the recommendations. It says, he says, I raised my hand because I wanted to suggest that more time is to be given to state news. For example, the state news will start at 7 p.m. This is in SSBC. It's important to listen to state affairs so that our national decisions are made with clear understanding of the full state issues and development. Former Minister of Health, Gender, Jonglei State. As a recommendation that there should be state news in the SSBC and in the Juba Radio. But is it, how's it called now? Is it still Juba Radio or SS? Huh?
SSBC.
SSBC Radio. Okay. Now, tomorrow we come at 8:30. We come and listen to the recommendations and the resolutions of the fifth governors forum. At 10 o'clock, the president will join us. He was so kind to give us the day to finish, and then tomorrow he will join us at 10 o'clock. Now you make your announcement.
Yeah, thank you very much, First Vice President, for being patient, sitting down from the morning until the evening. Now, we have an important announcement to the governors, our honorable governors. This announcement comes from UNDP. You are invited by the UNDP resident representative to have a dinner with him at Palm African Hotel from 5:30 to 7 o'clock. Thank you. Again, the Minister of Presidential Affairs will also be there because I'm staying in the village. So I wish you a very enjoyable dinner. Thank you very much.
Shukran jazilan. Have a good night. An early night.
Okay, guys, thank you for watching. I think that's it. Tomorrow, that's the end of the day. Tomorrow they will resume back tomorrow at 10 Juba local time. It will be the morning. The keynote speaker tomorrow is President Salva Kiir Mayardit. Will give remark, and that will be the last day. Thank you guys for tuning in. I put down some of the note about the street children. This is a very important, the government, South Sudan government, or the old governors. I didn't hear from them about what are they going to do with the street children. Is it that it's a program that they set to remove these children out of the street? I didn't hear that from the governors or from the first vice president. I haven't heard that. They should put. I hear that they are debating, arguing about the name. They're not being called street children, or they be called street children, a company minor. children, all kinds of stuff. But the solution they didn't talk about how they can help these children and how these children end up on the street and where these children come from. They didn't identify where these children came from. So this is very important, and this is the heartbreaking that I'm not happy about the children that have been left on the street. The government should put the program that can pick up these children that they don't have any proper care, whether these children they don't have parents, because I knew that some of the children are orphan, they end up on the street, and the government is not doing a job that they are calling them, even though they call them street children or unaccompanied minor or unaccompanied children, all kinds of stuff. But they should put a system in place where these children can be taken care of instead of winding up on the street. That is one of the things that I need to comment about that, about the street children. About the land issues too, I see that there's some of the land, they talk about the school land has been taken away from the other businesses, but I haven't heard about them talk about the issues of the land grabbing. Is this land grabbing is going on in Juba or not? Because we're hearing some of the South Sudan diaspora that are just doing knowing on social media. So above all, and the cattle too movement. So all of this thing, they should talk about it and come up with a solution how they can fix it or solve the issues. So that is one of the things that I just want to comment it. Thank you guys for turning in Let's Say Media. Tomorrow will be the last day. Suppose today to be the last day, but they give themselves one extra day because there's a lot of topics they had covered. So tomorrow will be the last day. Next day, media will still cover it, and you guys can follow the event. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys later. Have a wonderful evening, wonderful morning, and night, wherever you are. Thank you for tuning in. Let's Say Media. Have a wonderful day. Thanks. Bye.
It's your boy, young love. I give him that thing. Control like a stand, Control like a stand, Panchir America. Banyi door, Banaban, walk on your leg, Kankara, what on a watching. Oga, level leg, gear, power, leg, Panda with ya, Panchir America. Panya, Dolabano, Chingatongo, Pandon, could you ever buy a check out? Papu Panda, you, what ya be. Panchir America, Panchir Dwala, Panapan Panchal Lake.